Welcome to the Sport Exchange with me, John Robbie. Hi guys, welcome to the Sport Exchange podcast where we meet sporting personalities and learn about their lives and their life stories. Today on the Sport Exchange podcast, we meet a man who had his rugby dream shattered in one tackle against the Free State in 2016, just as he was making a name with the Springboks. He has the most famous neck in South Africa, and you'd be forgiven for thinking that his neck injury defines him. Well, it doesn't. There's a lot more to him than that. Welcome, Julian Redelinghuys. Julian, nice to have you on board. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, good morning, John. What a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
Are you fed up talking about your neck?
It's not the first time I'm going to talk about my neck, but now, I've always told players when they have an injury, because you get it a lot, you also had that, when you're injured, wherever you go, people ask you when you're going to be back, how's it going? And I was grateful for it at first, because I went to weddings and everyone's talking about it. And then I just thought to myself, with my wife's guidance as well, obviously, I thought about it and I said, flip, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to share good news and to talk about the good story that I should have been paralyzed, but I'm not. So to see it in a better light actually helped me. So I was looking forward to people asking me. So this just put him in a different mindset.
Does it define you? I mean, looking at your life, does that neck injury define who you are?
I hope not. I really hope not. But I do think it is a platform as well. I think it is a platform that I can use to a benefit, which I wouldn't have had probably if I didn't have the neck. So I hope it doesn't define me. I hope there's a lot more to me than just a rugby player that broke his neck. But I think it does give me a platform to reach people that I wouldn't have reached otherwise.
Do you think in a funny way, and I know this sounds ridiculous, in years to come, you might look back and say it was actually a good thing?
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that anything that happens can turn into great, or would turn into something great. So that's faith is 100% for me in that way. So whatever happens to me happens for me. So I'm definitely going to look back at this and say it was a good thing for me. I have to think like that. It helps me to process the whole thing. So.
Have you accepted, because I know for a long time you said, look, I'm looking for a doctor who says I can play again, I can do. Have you now accepted that your rugby career on the field is over?
Yeah, it's all because listen, we had lots of tight head problems in this Currie Cup. All our tight heads were injured. So there was probably more than 5 times where they said, listen, Jules, are you sure you can't play? So then I told them, listen, guys, I would love to play, but I wouldn't make it onto the field if I decide. My wife would kill me. My brother, my whole family would kill me. So now, to be honest, I think I've made the decision. Or I have made the decision. It's not worth the risk, unfortunately. I'm hoping medically something can happen one day where they can say, listen, you can play again. Yes, I was keen to play, especially now being involved in Currie Cup. I went onto the field with water bottles. So if you're on the field and you feel that rush again,
you smell the wintergreen, eh?
Yeah, I told the coach, I said, Flip, I just wish I can have one more scrum on the 5 meter line. That would be fantastic. So, yeah, you do miss it. But I've made peace with it. And I'm actually looking forward to the new life after rugby. But I must say, if something miracle happens and I can play again, I would love to. It just... But you know the feeling of playing.
How old are you now?
29. So
you see, you'd be coming into your absolute prime as a prop, wouldn't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, you've got the physique and you've got the stamina. But when you're at this sort of age as a prop, you've got the knowledge.
Yeah, so my grysheid kom die wysheid. I think it would have been flipping lucky to still play now. But yes, I'm embracing life. It's going so well. But I still miss it.
How do you get your balance in life? Because, so many sports people and rugby players are part of that. By definition, they have to give so much to their sport, mentally and physically. And yet, right from the beginning, you seem an exception. You seem to have had a balance right the way through your life. Do you A, accept that, and B, where does it come from?
That's a very good question, Robert. And I think, it came from school. I wanted to be a businessman. That was my goal in life. The rugby only realized in grade 11 when I played SA schools for the first time. Then I thought, okay, maybe rugby. But I still said, no, Flip, I got to get my grades So I was finished with 6 A's in matric because I was really dedicated to studying.
Sheesh.
I wanted to be a CA.
What is it about props, eh?
Everyone
you
says
look at Ray
props are dumb,
McLaughlin,
but-
Philip Orr. I mean, I can go back to my generation. These guys were first-class degrees at university. What is it about props?
I don't know. And then we still have this thing where people think we're stupid, the forwards. But I always... But anyway, so I was very dedicated to studying. And even now, after rugby, I did my CFP. I had 2 exams this semester and I passed them luckily. So my CFP, I've done all my subjects. So I've got my postgrad in financial planning as well. So I'm very dedicated to that. So I was always wanting to be a businessman. So even though the rugby...
Where did that come from?
Well, to be honest, my dad. So my dad was a lawyer. Well, yeah, he's not practicing as a lawyer anymore, but he's still alive, so I can't say was. But woke up in the mornings and he had to put on his suit, and I thought, flip, this looks lekker.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be this businessman, put on a suit, go to work. So I think that's what it was. I think my dad was still is a big inspiration. And
where did your love of maths come from? Because as somebody who is hopeless at maths, I can trace it back to, I was very good at maths and I had 1 year with a bad teacher and I lost it. And once you're behind in maths, you're always behind. And then I lost interest. Where did your love of maths come from?
I think you're right. I think a teacher plays a big role. So I had this one teacher at school, Meneer Reinders, at Monash. And he was my rugby coach as well. And I had maths with him and additional maths. So I did 2 math subjects with him as well. And I love to learn maths, and accounting is the other one. So I love numbers. I think I was just lazy to study. So I was more dedicated to doing numbers, because if you understand it, you don't have to study as hard.
You could work it out as you go along.
You can work it out. So I don't know where it came from. I think I was good at it from the start as well. And then him as an inspiration and helping me. And I think we understood each other. Like a lot of pupils said they couldn't understand him, but I understood him. So it was very helpful for me. So I loved maths. I still do till today. I think in numbers as well. It makes my wife crazy. I think in numbers. So if we have to go anywhere, I always work out like what's it going to cost petrol wise, how many Ks is it. Drives my wife crazy, but I think in numbers.
I'm the opposite. I love that story of the guy who says there's 3 sorts of people in the world. There's those who love maths and there's those who don't. That'll tell you where I come from. We all were small because, I mean, you were one of the smallest international props around. I mean, in old number, 5'9.5" or something. I mean, that's my size, And were you always small as a kid?
Yeah, I was fat as a kid. I was that fat guy in grade 3. That's when I started playing rugby. And I was that fat guy. Now when you have that 5-meter penalties, you get the ball to the biggest guy, the fat guy, and he taps it and scores a try. Yeah. So I was always that guy in primary school.
Was rugby compulsory?
No, it wasn't. I actually played cricket first. And then one day, the one teacher came into the classroom and looked at me and said, "Look, why are you not playing rugby?" Because I was like a fat boy, like I said. And he said, "No, I must start playing." So I went to the under 9Bs and I scored all those tries from the 5 meters and then to the 9As. So it wasn't compulsory at all. My dad was more of a cricketer as well. So I was working hard at cricket. And I would never say I played well. I was good at cricket, but I enjoyed it. But then the rugby, I think rugby is just more sport, more team than cricket, which I enjoy. I'm actually a spun man. I like the team.
Yeah. When was the moment? Was there a particular moment where you said, I mean, I won't even talk Springboks, but was there a particular moment where you said, I can actually be good at rugby?
Yeah, I think it's at SA school. So grade 11 is actually a long story. The guy that would have played above me at school level for the first team got injured. He tore his Achilles. Then I got the opportunity to play first team, then Craven Week, and then SA schools. So in grade 11, I realized, flip, this might be a reality for me. And then I got contracted in my early matric year. So then I thought, flip, there's something in it. But I still said, flip, if I can study, I'll come. Yeah. So the Sharks Academy made like an exception for me so I can do my accounting degree while at the academy. So they sorted me out in that way. And then I said, okay, I'll come to the Sharks. So then it started becoming reality.
I think, let me interrupt you there. This is absolutely critical. Because in this series, we've spoken to so many sportsmen now. I mean, it's dozens. And I think with a very few exceptions, every single one of them has said, I wish I'd studied. I wish I'd done something more. Many of them started degrees at university, but when they got involved in professional sport, they gave it up. Do you think the academies should do more? In other words, rather than be reactionary to you who came in and said, I'm only coming if I can study, they should actually be proactive and commit the guys to study from their side first before taking them as a prerequisite. Do you think that's a possibility?
This is a great chat, John. This is what I'm so passionate about. Because this is where I believe we can make a difference. Because it's almost, and I'm working with the youngsters now at the Lion, so they come in and we're making it compulsory for them to study. So we have the Learning Up, the Xerox Learning Up, where we're putting all the under-19s we contract into the hub. But the dedication from their side is very poor. From not a majority of the side, but a big chunk of the team.
Because they're living the dream. So this
100%.
is a necessary evil. They just want to get rid of it. Yeah.
How do you motivate a player who they earn decent money at the age of 18 years old to study? They don't see the need for it at all.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work we have to put into that to say, okay, it's compulsory. And if you don't do that, you're not going to play rugby. There's something we have to do. I don't know what the answer is. But it is, we were speaking earlier about if you do study, it's not only good for you as a student, but it's good for you as a rugby player as well, because there's a lot you can learn. Even speaking about your story now with what you're busy with.
With the pantomime and the professional actors,
100%.
there are lessons that rugby and soccer and sport and business could learn from the way they do. I mean, I've been knocked out by it.
100%. So if you can get a guy to study, it's going to help his rugby career.
Yeah.
But they don't realize it at all. So we have to find a way to make rugby players and all sportsmen realize if you do something else other than just your sport, it's going to make you a better sportsman.
You see, let's tie in what we've been talking about. Because earlier on you said there was one teacher. What was his name again?
Meneer Skalkreinders.
Meneer Skalkreinders.
Ah, say.
Now, if you had a Meneer Skalkreinders, someone who is passionate about, I mean, Professor Jonathan Jansen, you know, the ex-vice rector, famous academic here, marvelous man, one of my absolute heroes. He was a scully at school. He was heading nowhere. He was rubbish till a teacher collared him and said, you can't fool me. You're not fooling me. You're just afraid to have a go. And look what happened. He's now a top academic. So maybe what you need to do is get somebody inspirational on the study side of things, whose job is to somehow motivate. In other words, to make study fun. Yeah, is that possible?
I think that's the right story. I also have a story I think it's Les Brown's story. I don't know if you've heard it. Where he said he always believed, they called him DT, dumb twin, because he had other bud and he was clever.
Yeah.
And the same story, the teacher told him, you're not fooling me. So he said, I can't do this because I'm dumb, because he believed he was dumb.
Yeah.
And then the teacher told me, you're never going to say that about yourself. And he believed in him. Therefore, he started to believe in himself. And now he's a motivational speaker and he talks to millions of people. So just because of one teacher that actually told him, there's more to you. So I think you're right. You need someone like that. And that's why teachers are so important. Or a coach.
Yeah.
Or anyone.
Make it fun. Make it fun. And what do the guys study? What do the youngsters study? What are the choices?
Yeah, so what we have at the Learning Up, we actually last year we did venture capitalism. So the guys that they actually learn to be entrepreneurs. So they do go through a whole business plan. So they have to figure out their own plan for business. So they go through the whole process. So I like that. It was quite tough on the guys. And then this year we did a computer science. So they learn Excel, Word, to do emails, which I think is helpful for anyone. I think there's a lot of adults
Can I come?
I even asked.
Look what I've got in front of me. I still use paper, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's very helpful.
Yeah.
But the difficult thing is you have guys that actually want to study, so they go to VITS. So for them to do that, and the hub does tend to get quite strenuous with the rugby as well.
Yeah.
So it's still new. It's our second year now going.
What about trades? What about artisans? I mean, artisans. As somebody said to me, what's the difference in a plumber and a doctor? They both deal with SH1T, messy, but one is very, very sexy and the other is considered below. But in fact, an artisan is a managing director. An artisan is a future millionaire who can run his own company, etc. Maybe there are guys who could do trades and so on like that. That might be worth exploring.
Yeah, and I think that's what you guys also do well is in looking in advance. What are you good at? So doing programs where you can see, this is actually what will suit me, what I would be good at. So if you can do that early and then get them into either studying it or into a workplace where they can learn, I think that's the way forward. Because you can't just think of rugby players or sportsmen in total for their career while they're doing sports.
Absolutely.
There's a long life
But the difficulty
after
is
sport.
when the guy's living the dream. It's like telling a guy in his first job, you got to think about your retirement.
100%.
You know, and yet now those of us who've retired say, I wish I'd started early. What is it about scrummaging? Now, I want to talk to you about this because when you said, I wish I could go in one more scrum, I saw your eyes light up. Because I know that in every scrum, in every game in rugby, there are only 6 people who know what is going on, and all 6 of them are liars. They never tell the truth. What is it about rugby? About scrummaging in rugby?
Oh, scrums is fantastic. I think what I love about it is it's 8 guys having to work 100% together. Otherwise, it's going to be a screw up. So if one guy pulls his head out, if one guy is not in sync with the rest of the guys, the scrum's not working. But the other way is also possible. So if everything is in sync, all 16 feet fire at the same time, something magic can happen. So for me, it's the lack of thing of if everyone works at a unit, as a unit, this thing can function properly. And if one guy screws it up, the whole thing's in its chop. So that's what I like about it. So if everyone pulls his part, so it's a proper team thing. So if everything goes according to plan, this thing is magical. But if one thing's out of place, then the whole thing collapses.
The late Donnie Craven, I was a great friend of his, and he always said, the most important man in your squad is the tight head prop. The whole squad, the tight head prop is the most important. And he said, the second most important man in your squad is the reserve tight head prop.
I love that, man. I love that.
Explain to me why, and to listeners who maybe have never been, like me, never been in a scrum in their life, why is a tight head so important?
I think if you look at it basically, it's the tight head's always versus 2 guys. So the hooker and loose head is onto the tight head. So he takes a lot more pressure. If you look at it as just like a logical
Yeah, if you put your
point of
3
view.
fingers together, he's 2 shoulders.
The tight head's between 2 heads. So he is working hard. And I think also tight head, the margin for error is so small. If you do one small thing wrong on tight head, you're demolished. Whereas on loose head side, if you do one thing, you can still correct it. So I haven't played much on loose head side. It's too easy on that side. So. No, just joking. But anyway, so a tight head, I think it's more tough. And I think because if a tight head struggles, the whole team struggles. If your scrum's going backwards, then your whole game's going to struggle. So I think that's the reason for it. I'll never disagree with that opinion.
You can use it. You can use it. Donnie Craven said it. And Philip Orr, the great Irish and Lions prop forward, who was a great friend of mine, he said that the greatest feeling for a prop is that you're sitting on a wall. You feel like you're sitting on a wall. In other words, those people behind you are there. And then when you've got your hook, you feel like you can do anything. Yeah. Does that also resonate with you?
You're just as strong as the people next to you and behind you, 100%. So if you have a proper hooker next to you and a proper lock, that's why you'll always find a tight head with his tight head lock or best mate. So if I think of some of my favorite locks was like Andries Ferreira at the Lions. It was like a fridge behind me. And
unsung hero.
Yeah, 100%. And all the locks that actually scrum behind, I can go from school up until we had a big bond because I knew I needed him. And the same for lineouts, he needs me. So it's
and what about the flank on the side? Because I always feel sorry for flanks because flanks, I mean, you often see the prop hitting the flank, come in here, I need support. But the flank also knows if he commits too much there and the scrum half gets away, then he's going to get dropped. So tell me about the relationship with flanks.
Yeah, so flank, I love Jaco Kriel because Jaco Kriel he didn't even weigh 100 kilograms. It was always a fight for him to get to 100, but he flipping worked. So, and I always tell flanks and the 8th man, just give me the first 2 seconds of a scrum. Yeah. So give me a proper hit and then the first explode, then you can leave me. But we need to have that solid foundation. So I'm fine with them if they go because we need them in the defense line. So I also understand that. It's not just about our scrum, it's about the team. But if he gives me the first fight, 100%. But it's lucky if you, like you say, that wall behind you, if you sit and you can feel the flanks on you. I think that's why they clap them because some of the times they lose it. Call them the meerkatte. If they're looking up like that, like meerkatte. So if they look up like that, you can't feel the pressure. But if they're on you, you feel comfortable. You feel like you got backing.
I think back to my career, and I can remember some great tries we scored, backline tries. I used to work with Yanni Briet, 8 to 9, left and right, and we caused mayhem for a while. And I can remember them individually. Do you remember individual scrums?
Yeah, there's a lot, eh?
Give us a couple of the great scrums.
Yeah, so the first one, quarterfinals against the Crusaders, they were only 7 in the scrum, but we struggled against the Crusaders quite a few times. And myself personally as well against White Crockett. So he is a champion.
Huge man, yeah.
He's a champion loose-head, one of the toughest I've played against. And the first scrum against the Crusaders quarterfinals 2016 of Super Rugby. What
was the date? I'm kidding.
When was it? I can't remember that. Now you put him under pressure. But anyway, so it's on our halfway line. It's the first scrum of the game, but they're only 7. But then we smashed them. We went over them, and we got a penalty. It just gave us so much confidence for the game. So that's one scrum I can remember. This is my first scrum for the Springboks in Italy.
Tell us about that. Talk us through that.
Yeah, obviously you stress, eh?
Because you've come on as a replacement now.
Yeah. I came on for, I think it was for Kuni because Yanni was injured. So I went on and I remember hitting and I thought, flip man, we can go. And I remember turning to Luat because Luat was scrumming behind me. I said, please Luat, let's go. Because the first scrum, like they reset it. I thought, no, we have to go this next scrum. I want to kill this guy because we want to make a statement now. And I actually scrummed individually, which is not great. You have to scrum as a unit. Yeah. So it didn't work out perfectly. So I learned a lot of lessons. But we still did well in that test scrum-wise. So it was lekker. And then I can also remember one with Kitshoff.
Yeah.
Against Ireland in 2016 as well.
And Ireland's a good scrummaging side.
Yeah, they have fantastic scrummaging side. And I remember coming on and then we smashed them. For one scrum, and they still played in the highlights reel, and Kitsy and myself just went with their scrum. So that's, you'll always remember that, eh?
Look at the eyes. Look at his eyes.
You get excited.
His eyes are...
No, it's like it's like almost like a lawful way of demolishing people.
Yeah.
So it sounds hectic if I listen to myself now. But I think it's a great way to get into someone's head and motivating your pack.
The biggest frustration rugby has is scrummaging now. You know, the scrum goes in, it's stopped. The scrum goes in, it's stopped. The referee speaks, they stops them. He warns them, it goes in again, down he goes, penalty. Oh. So there's 2 minutes of the game is wasted. Oh. Now, in my day, we didn't have that. There was none of this touch, pause, bind, whatever. The scrums went up and they went at it. And there were far fewer problems. In other words, the front rows sorted it out themselves. Is that romanticism? Or do you think that if it was left more to the props themselves or the front rows themselves, we would see less stoppages in the scrums?
I think what they try to do is to make it safe.
Yeah.
I have to say I love watching the rugby from those days because it seemed like anyone that's close is just grabbed and thrown into a scrum.
And at top level, there were very few injuries.
Yeah, there was
the danger was at schoolboy level when you had hard pitches and guys who weren't, and that's a different issue. But at top, I'm talking top level.
I don't think there was injuries, but anyway.
Very few. I can't think of any.
That's why I think they made it so systematic. Because now it's a system. It's crouched, bind. So there's a whole system around, and I think it's for safety. But I spoke to, because I'm quite involved with the Chris Berger, Peter Jackson
Of course, yeah.
And I was there recently to talk to them. And the injuries at schoolboy level and club level went down dramatically.
Way down.
Which is great to hear.
Yeah.
But at senior levels, I get the frustration because there is sometimes it takes 3 minutes for a scrum to get completed.
And referees, when they penalise, I mean, I often think
it's a gamble.
But you can put your money. The referee is going to penalise one side for one scrum, one side for the other. You think he's doing it because he doesn't know what's going on. I said earlier on in jest, there's only 6 people who know. When you watch scrums and you watch referees giving penalties, do you laugh?
Yeah, I do. But I also feel for them because if you look at a scrum, there's 6 guys just in the front rows, and if one of them does something wrong, the thing can collapse or something go wrong. So a ref can't look at all 6 of them. So I think they have like small pointers. So if someone elbows is down, it's a sure sign. So that's going to blow. It doesn't matter if his elbow's down because of the other guy doing something wrong. They're looking at that. And also feel that most of the time penalize the team whose ball it is. So the attacking team.
Yeah.
So I think they have a couple of like go-to signs that they look at. But
which elbow goes down first, or whether the knee goes down.
Like I rate myself as someone who knows quite a little of scrum. Yeah. But sometimes even if the scrum goes, I don't even know what went wrong. So you have to look at a replay over and over to see what went wrong. So they can't do that in real time.
Do refs ever come to you as a scrummaging, as a recognised scrummaging expert and ask for tips?
No, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Like Curry Cup, I was more involved now with the team. and as management. So I hope, and on the last game I spoke to Robbie Kempson, who's now in control of refereeing the scrums.
Yeah.
Or not refereeing the scrums, refereeing the refs.
Well, he knows his business, let's be honest. Yeah.
So then I spoke to him, and it's quite interesting to hear how he talks to refs. And so hopefully, and they're always thinking of new things to help this problem that everyone is having.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I know they're all trying to make it better. So I think it will get better, but it is a process.
But I take your point, because what happens at top level gets mirrored on the way down, and you've got to look at safety on the way down. So you make a very, very good point. When was the first time? When it was Heineke Meyer phoned you and told you you're in the squad? Tell us about that moment.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. It was a Sunday evening. I was at my mother-in-law's place. I thought, who's this guy? Because I didn't have his number, obviously.
Yeah.
Thought, who's this guy phoning me Sunday evening?
Were you tempted not to take it?
Yeah, I was. And I was like... but obviously you hoped it was, but you can't think it's him. So you were hoping, because you hear the rumors you might be included.
Yeah.
I think the first time I didn't even answer. And then when he phoned again, I answered, and obviously thought, flip,
who's winding you up?
Don't even think it. If he says it's Heineke, you're not expecting it. So he says, I'm asking who's speaking, and he says Heineke. And I'm like, almost like Heineke who? You don't know who. And I'm like, yes, Coach Heineke. And then I was obviously surprised. And it just said, congratulations, you're going to be included when I announce the side. I just wanted to phone you first before you see it on TV. And I remember putting the phone down afterwards and just sitting there before I told anyone, just sitting there, like just being grateful, thankful, because it's a dream. Eh? Since small boy, I remember singing the 95, watching the game at home. My dad and them were at the game, but we were standing there in front of the TV singing our hearts out. So it's a dream since you're a small boy. And to realize, flip, now is the time.
And what was it like when you first got together with the squad? I mean, you feel like a little boy again, don't you?
Exactly, because 2014, so then Blockies was still playing, was a hero of mine. And John de Villiers was still there. And like all these heroes that you grow up watching were still involved then. Yes, so it was like you almost walk in there like... big eyed, you don't even know who to talk to.
You want to get autographs.
I sit by them, just listen to their conversations.
And Yanni Duplessis was very helpful to you?
Yeah, he's a champion.
He's a great guy,
I remember going to his room, asking him for line-out calls, and he's just helping me and giving guidance. And him and his both. So Bismarck, before your first game, I think he does it with all the players. He writes you a letter to, just say congratulations, and he gives it to you before your jersey presentation. So they massive team guys. They just care about the team. And
I was a great Heineke Meyer fan. I liked Heineke. I think he got his history because of the Japan game. Maybe he gets a rough deal. People forget what he did with the Bulls, and people forget that he went within 2 points of winning a semi-final against New Zealand. 100%. I was also honoured to give out the jerseys once, and the way the squad was, instantly just respect and discipline, and yet still allowed to have fun. Were you a fan of his?
I did like him. Obviously, he was a bigger fan of size, so I think that counted against me in his eyes. He didn't like me as much as a Yanni or a Kuni
big boy,
or myself and a Merve at the time, because I was just much smaller. So I think it counted against me, but I do like the way he motivated the team and the way he got a team to care for each other. There's a lot of things he does do very well, and I think you're right. I was a massive Blue Bull supporter actually at the time.
Oh my word!
When they did well like that, flip. So my dad was a massive Bull, and so I was a Bull by default. And obviously, I loved Buckies. He was a massive inspiration to me. So I was a Blue Bull supporter. So when they did so well, I was a Blue Bull supporter. So I loved Heineke and enjoyed the way he made that team become so successful and in the manner they did it.
Absolutely. They had a certain, grace about them. They were mannerly as well. How dirty is rugby now? Because in my day, you guys were dirty. You look back at the 74 Lions against the Springboks. Some of it, the guys would be put in jail today for assault. My day, there were punch-ups, there were fights. I saw some dreadful things, and yet I remember playing, in the sort of 70s and 80s, and thinking, thank goodness the game is so clean now compared to the previous generation. Yeah. Now, you get the handbags and the scuffles because obviously you've got television and you've got much tougher sanction against you. Are punches thrown on the sly? There must be. Tell us about that side of it.
Yeah, I think there's still, for sure, there must be, but I think it just
And that
has to
must be from your side.
from my side.
How did you do it? How did you deal with somebody who was causing you trouble?
I only got punched once in my life, my whole career, rugby-wise. I don't think I was a aggressor. I wasn't that type of player. I think a guy like Franco Mostert get punched quite a lot.
Oh, right,
because he's in the guys' faces. But I only got punched once in my life, and it was in grade 11 when I scrummed the captain of the other team. And I scrummed him, and I think he got angry, and he just punched me once on my lip.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I got punched my whole career.
So at top level, I mean, it is it's very clean then. It's tough but clean.
Yeah, in my experience, very clean. So I also never punched a guy after schoolboy rugby. So in professional rugby, never threw a punch. There's always like the intimidation, but I find it lacquer to hit a guy, to tackle a guy hard.
Yeah.
And maybe if you get up, just push him back into the ground. Some small things like that, just intimidating, but never punches. I think I was never willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
There is still punches getting thrown. I listened to a story of Victor. You probably heard the story where he tells about Bucky's telling him to shift over to the other side of the scrum and he wanted to hit Matt Stevens. Yeah. So I think it still happens, but you have to have the characters for it. You get
I think John Smith tells that story brilliantly, yeah. Because I think that was against England and there was a bit of Boer War memory.
Exactly.
Going
Bucky's didn't like that. So I think you still get it, but in my experience, very little these days.
What do you do in rugby? Because a number of people have said, I mean, Rudolf Stroyle is a great mate of mine, but a number of people have said you're being groomed to be a CEO of a union. No, but given your background, the finance, the playing of the rugby, the various things, does that excite you?
I get a lot of flack from the team, eh? So whenever I go stand in front of a team, they start chanting like CEO. So it is a big thing. I think I love the business side of it as well.
Yeah.
I had the privilege and honor to be involved in the business side and to learn from Rudolf was amazing. Yes, I think he's fantastic at what he does. And of course, a
lawyer as well. I mean, an educated man. Yeah,
he's an educated guy, and he's just wise. He tells me things, and I didn't even think of it. So I'm learning a lot from him. I do think I would love to stay involved in rugby because I always say I have a passion for people, for sports, and then for finance. So I can actually use all of them in this line that I'm doing now. So,
but would you, if I gave you the choice of coaching or being involved on the administration side now, one or the other, which would you take?
If you asked me 2 months ago, it would definitely be an administration.
Yeah.
But being involved now in Currie Cup, yes, I loved it. To be part of the team and be part of the management, I did enjoy it. So Warren gives me a lot of flack because I always told him I'll never coach. Because he wants to coach. He'd love to coach one day.
Yeah, well, we had him on actually, and he said the very same thing.
But he'll be a fantastic coach. He's going to be awesome. But I always told him, no, you can do that. I'll do the business side because we do a lot of things together. So I said, no, you do that. I'll do the business side. But now after being involved now, I loved it. So I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure. I think I would love to do both, actually. I don't know if it's possible. But
I mean, you worked all the way through your professional rugby career, didn't you? How difficult was that and how did you manage that?
Yeah, I think it is difficult, the time management of it, but it helped me a lot in my sport career as well. So I think, like we spoke earlier, if you have something outside of sport that can take your mind off, you can.
So who did you work for?
It's Giensha Optimate Financial Solutions. So they're the guys I actually used to invest my money.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Durban, I was very far from them. But when I came back to Joburg, they very close to me in the West Rand. The guy actually stays like 8 kilometers from me. So we go to his house on Monday mornings to have meetings. So then I started working there, actually just referring clients to them, but now recently getting more involved in financial advice. So I've done that like the whole time through.
And that's a hell of a tough exam, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I hope I'm not the only one that found it quite tough.
Yeah. Everyone I've spoken to says it. Yeah.
And it's tough to study while you have a little one and you're working and things are busy.
What did the other players think of you? Did they think of you as a bit of an oddball?
As a what?
A bit of an oddball.
I think so, but I think they do appreciate it though. I think they appreciate someone that can do all of that at one time. So, but I'm actually in a team environment. You wouldn't think I'm a student or a guy that studies or very serious about his studies because I enjoy team activities.
Yeah.
I'll stay up till latest, be busy with the boys. So I don't think I give this thing. We have one guy on our team. He was actually the smartest guy in the whole world in his matric year in geography. Stephen Bashir, that if he climbs on a bus, he has his textbook with him.
Yeah.
And he's studying. So I'll never do that. So I don't think I give the impression that I want to study the whole time. I'll do it in my own time. So
And speaking of geography, how come you never went overseas? Did you get offers? You must have. Were you ever tempted?
Yeah, I think I'm still in that way. I'm an oddball because I still have this passion to play for the Springboks. So the green and gold to me was way more important than money.
Money, yeah.
So I would have been able to go overseas to France because they like their titles as well, like you know.
Of course, yeah.
So I would have been able to get massive offers from them.
But what an experience. What an experience to learn the language, live in a different culture. When your kids were, before your kids, or when they were very young and you could move them around, etc. So you must have been tempted.
To be honest, I think after this World Cup, I would have gone. So if I was still playing, I would have gave myself a fair shot to play World Cup. So the World Cup next year, and then after that, I would have gone. But if I think of it now, my wife also has a fantastic job as a dominee.
Yeah. What's it like being married to a dominee?
Yes, it's fun.
Must be terrible when you hurt your thumb and you can't curse.
No, yes, I do enjoy it. I think what I like most is like we at people the whole time. So both of us are very social. So we at people's houses and we just visit people. So it's fun. We're very social. So we want to be with people the whole time. So I think we always joke and we all tell all our friends we only make food in our house like maybe twice a week. Because we had people the whole time. We're chatting at the end. Die kerk tannies maak lekker kos. So we eat nicely. So no, it's flip fun. And
but you were sort of a golden couple, weren't you? Because your wife was a head girl, you a head boy, you were rugby, you were there. Next second you're married, and it's almost like something out of Hollywood, isn't it?
It sounds like it. It's not always just like that. But she's a fantastic girl. She's a awesome wife and a fantastic mom. She's pregnant again now, so we're expecting in February.
That's number 3, is it?
Number 2 now.
Number 2 now.
Also a little one, so little daughter. So 2 girls now, so I'm going to be a little bit outnumbered.
Yeah.
But I think we'll try again for a Lati. But I must say, I always thought we were just going to have boys, but the girl, yes, she's got me around the pink hair, and she's fantastic. I'm enjoying her. So
mine is 35, and she still has it. Never ever goes away.
It's a privilege.
Talking to youngsters, because, I mean, front row is an arcane world. You know, it's a dark arts are practiced in the front row, and unless people have been there, no one can really understand it. And yet, young kids who are strong, maybe a little bit overweight, but who are passionate about rugby, that's where they end up. What advice would you give to a kid who's passionate about rugby, who maybe has got the physical attributes, in terms of front row play, and also in terms of getting into a career and managing a career?
In rugby or
in rugby. What advice would you give to that youngster? A guy who's 15 or 16, loves rugby, dreams it is, pretty good at school, but his whole focus is on rugby, and he happens to be a prop forward. What advice would you give? I mean, suck it up from inside you. What advice would you give to the young Julian if you were able to give it to him?
One thing I regret that no one ever taught me is to work on like the stupid muscles, because we always work on if you gym, you work on the muscles you see in a mirror.
Yeah.
And for scrumming, it's actually not important at all. So you never use your chest while scrumming. You use your back and you use your glutes and your hammies.
Yeah.
So if you can get that strong, you're going to be way better, and your core. So all those muscles that you don't really see, because you want to, when you're at school, you want to gym or you want to look good for the girls. Yeah. So you want to have big arms, but that doesn't help you. So if you can work on the muscles you don't see in the mirror, that'll actually make you so much stronger.
That's fascinating. Because we spoke to Angus Tavawa, the New Zealand prop, who's come from nowhere. Yeah. He didn't have a contract. He's come through. And he was a brilliant player, but all his career was considered a weak scrummer. And he was going nowhere. He went to Australia, and he said they worked on muscles. And this is from New Zealand now. Yeah. And the Australians, and he's come back now. He's an All Black in the All Black squad. So where do people find out about this?
I think when I started working with Ivan Cash van Rooyen, that's at the Union.
Yeah,
he made me realize all of these things. So he doesn't even care about benching and stuff like that. Because that was the norm. If you think back, like 2007, 2008, that was the norm. How much can you bench? How much can you squat? And he focused more on like power and focus more on
And it's all
deadlift.
physics, isn't it? It's physics.
And that's what it is. So if you think of rugby positions, it's all like almost in the scrumming positions. If you make a tackle, it's in that bend down position. If you clean out, it's in that bend down position. So what muscles do you need to actually make you perform better at rugby? And it's not the muscles that you think that you see in the mirror. Your arms is not going to make you a better rugby player. Your back and your glutes and your quads. That's
why don't you write a book about it? Why don't you write
you reckon there's some value in it?
No, but seriously, why don't you write a technical book about scrummaging from the front row? I mean, quite apart from the fact I think it would be fun. I mean, would that not be doing a service to kids, all over the world? Yeah.
I didn't realize it for a long time in my career because I only focused. I was looking great, but I wasn't strong in the areas that I needed to be strong in. To make me better for the job I had on the field. Yeah. So that's the one thing I would advise. And then the other thing that I realized only later in my career, maybe you'd agree with me, is a lot of rugby, a sport, is off the field.
Yeah.
So not just on the field how hard you train, but it's how well you can recover.
Yes.
And you still, to have something outside of rugby and to have fun outside of rugby, not to make rugby everything in your life. So rugby must be what you do, not who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get trapped in that idea, and as soon as rugby falls away, then they're nothing. So when you're injured, you almost go into a depression, or when you're done with rugby, you almost go into a depression. Yeah. So that's one thing I think we as administrators or we as management or coaches can help players realize is there's a lot more to you as a human than just rugby.
Yeah, you see, and that's the problem when kids are living the dream, and we all had it.
We all had it.
Yeah. And you learn a little bit about it. Who was the guy who tackled you when you broke your neck?
It was Thorsten from the Free State.
Yeah.
So he's a champion. So I'll never hold it against him. Never be angry at him.
I just wanted to look at that. It was funny. We spoke to Brian Mitchell.
Yeah.
And he knocked out Jake Maraki and he died.
Sure.
And I mean, it's famous. They fought 4 times. He's the only guy ever to beat Brian Mitchell as a professional. And Brian had visited his mum 2 weeks before the interview, a couple of weeks ago. Now we're talking 30 years ago. Now, obviously yours wasn't that extreme. Has that given you a sort of bond with the guy, the fact that he broke your neck?
Yeah, I must say, we've spoken afterwards again. And I remember the day after I got operated, he came to visit in the hospital. Yeah. Just to say sorry. And it wasn't necessary, but he still came. I remember he had a chat with my dad outside where I couldn't see. My dad just told me how bad he felt about this. So I just remember telling him, Flip, it was not your fault. It was actually a good tackle.
It was nothing dirty. I actually watched it the other day. Yeah.
So even if it was a dirty thing, that's rugby, and that's the game we love. So can't be angry at him or at the game. Yeah. I was just unfortunate, and maybe I was stupid from my side to go into a carry like that. But I'll never be angry at the game or at the guy who tackled me.
What makes you angry?
Yeah, not much, eh?
No, just realize, not much makes you angry, eh?
I believe you're in control of your emotions, so I don't get angry quite often. My wife tends to get me quite angry sometimes. I think that's true with all of us.
Yes.
But not much, eh? I think one thing that does, if I look at my little one now, one thing that makes me very angry is disrespect. And if she throws something or things like that make me angry, like small things, like respectful things. But I always try to think of a person. So even in traffic, if you see a taxi driver doing this, or just think that's the way they are. It's not. I'm not going to benefit from getting angry. Yeah. So I try to stay in control of my emotions, so I don't get angry. Much.
Fantastic. Julian Redelinghuys, fantastic talking to you. Thank you very much indeed. We hardly mentioned your neck. At all. Well and yet we learned a lot about you, and we certainly learned a lot. Thanks very much.
Thanks, John. It was a privilege. Thanks for having me.
Wasn't that a marvellous interview about rugby and life in general? I confidently predict we will hear more from Julian Redelinghuys in the future. Thanks as usual to Slow in the City for hosting us. Have you checked out the Course restaurants yet? It is fabulous. Follow us on social media and subscribe on your favourite podcast app. See you next time. Cheers from John Robbie.